I have some lenses rolling around here somewhere, and since we as a human being have to adapt to the body that we get in every incarnation, why not adapt some lenses to a body as well? So let's go outside and check out some adapted lenses, and you can guess which lens is which, and at the end of the video we will see which lens was actually which lens and which lens you liked best. So let's get outside and see what we get. Okay, so there we have our first adapted lens. I will tell you at the end of the video which lens was which. This is a pretty nice look and I enjoy using this lens. It's cheap, it's pretty cheap, but I will give you no more hints so far. I like the look, and it's a Nikon lens, so these are easy to adapt. You just need a manual adapter with an aperture control ring, because the a7S G lenses, they do not have an aperture ring, as you know. So well, what do you think about the look? And is there any 3D pop? And now you see it a little bit closer, and you can see that I'm a polar bear today. Do you like the look? That was the first lens. Let's switch to the next adapted lens. So there we have it, our next adapted lens. This lens is even a little bit better than the lens we've seen before. And as you can tell, it's a little bit more narrow, so the focal length is a bit longer. I do not know if I prefer the look of the first or the second so far, but we got some more lenses to check, so we will see what we get. Other than that, this lens is reasonably priced, so you will get it for cheap. It's of course not originally for Sony. All these lenses are adapted. There is no native lens in my bag today. Maybe you can guess which lens it is. It's of course difficult, but sometimes these looks, they are hard to distinguish from one another. Sometimes you think that this must be a Zeiss, this must be a Voigtlander, this must be this or that, but then it's a Samyang. So yeah, there are a lot of videos on YouTube, people using Voigtlander, Zeiss, but you know what I mean. It doesn't always have to be like that. Sometimes you cannot decide whether it is a Zeiss or even a Samyang. Just a direct comparison, if you put them both side by side, then you may see it. But if they are not, you could be wrong. This is the most easy to use lens, at least when adapted. It's pretty wide angle, as you can tell. And of course, it has a variable aperture. But is the look alright? Is it better? How does it hold up to the other lenses? This lens is not the cheapest of the first three that you have seen. This lens is, of course, since it is adapted, a manual lens now, but it is an autofocus lens. I think the look is good. Good enough for what it is, and good enough when you have autofocus, which we don't. So I don't know. Let's switch to the next lens. Oh, had I fun with this lens. I just opened it actually. I opened it, I think 3 days ago, because of the focus thread. It was a little bit stiff and there was a problem with the blades, so I opened it and then I put it back together, and now, well, it greased a little. I greased a little and now it's good again. This lens, well, is the oldest of all these lenses. So a little hint. And of course it's a manual lens with a very, very smooth aperture. I like the look. Well, what do you think? Do you like this look? Do you prefer it? Or did you like the look of the others more? This one should be a little less clean looking than at least the last one. And well, not more clean looking than the next lenses I will show you. So far, we are halfway through. This lens is fairly old as well, and this lens is, surprisingly, pretty well known. I got this lens since I can remember. It was mounted on an old camera of mine, and I never thought that this would be something interesting for anyone. I had a nickname for it that I will not tell you right now, because then you would know what it is. But look-wise, this thing might be the best. I don't know. And I actually do not think so. But what do you think? Guess which lens it is. And then we will switch to the last two lenses. And we go back into the studio and see what we got. So there you have it, polar bear. I hope in focus. This lens could potentially look similar to the second lens, could look similar to the last lens and the lens before that. This is a good, pretty good, but cheap lens. I will make a video about why this lens is good, or why it should be good at least. It's because who built it, or who built it really. It's not what is imprinted on the lens. That's not the real manufacturer of this design. So, well, I use this often, and I use this during my life. On every camera, I think, on every camera where it fit. I use it on Nikon cameras, I use it on Sony cameras, on all the cameras even. And it's very good for making video or filming, right? It has a very smooth focus thread. The aperture, well, it's not that aesthetic, I would call it like that. So let's switch to the last lens. This is a bit of an exotic one, and I think not suitable for filmmaking or video in general, because the focal length is just too long. We will see how far I have to get back. Alright, I'm here with my twin to check if I'm in focus from the distance. So this lens has a pretty long focal length, as you can see. We will reveal what kind of lens this is and if it is usable. Now, for video and filming, you have no control over anything. I would not be able to see if I'm in a shot or not. No chance, no. So it's a guessing game, right? Sort of. But the look is phenomenal, right? It's phenomenal. And it is so easy to focus. It's a manual lens, of course. So now let's get back in and see and reveal which lens was which and which you like the most, maybe. So my twin and I will go. And back in the studio. This lens is not adapted. It's the Zeiss Batis on the Sony a7S. I'm not sure about the autofocus still. Still better than the Panasonic, I think. So let's check out which lens was which. The first lens we got was the Nikon 35mm f1.8 DX lens. DX on full frame. As you can see, it worked pretty well. I used this lens on my D3 and D200, which is APS-C, and of course on the Nikon ZF as well. This lens, well, it's not corrected for full frame, but it fits the sensor. So you could use it. From what I experienced, some sensors seem to be, they crop different or whatever. So on some sensors you get a slight, but very slight vignetting. And I think it has 3D pop. Oh yes, it has. Oh, I really enjoy the look. Such a good lens, such a good lens. Second lens. The second lens was actually the Nikkor 50mm 1.4D. And this lens, I think, is one of the Nikkor lenses in the 50s with the most micro contrast and potentially 3D pop. It's not that sharp wide open, but that's alright. I don't know. I don't know if it looks better actually. This is the most easy to use lens. Next lens. Yes. The look is simple. The look is nothing special, but with autofocus it is a pretty practical lens and the focal length is pretty enjoyable, I think. It's the Nikkor 18 to 105mm 3.5 to 5.6 kit lens for APS-C, and it was the Sony a7S in APS-C crop mode. I shot a video with this lens and the Nikon D7000. This lens is alright. I think it's okay. It's nothing. See, the scale, right? Convenience, looks, and I prefer looks over convenience, but sometimes it is better to get the shot and it looks flat than to not have the shot at all, but that what is not in focus is dimensional, right? So this lens mounted on a camera with autofocus, and you could mount it with an adapter to the Nikon ZF. Why should you? But you could. Then it would be a good video lens for the vlogging style, for talking heads with a close distance to the camera. Good one. So the next lens. Oh yes. The focus was wrong. Too bad the focus was wrong. It's a Carl Zeiss Jena Tessar. Tessar from 1950 something. And I had to open it and had to grease it and so on. Too bad that the focus was off a little bit and it's not that sharp wide open, but it could also be that I just had that the adapter, you know. This lens, it's very bulky at the rear element. So if you mount it, it sometimes does not fit correctly. Next one. Next one is, as you would have guessed, it's the Helios 44-2. It looks alright, yes, it looks good, it's a vintage lens. It's filmic, because it was intended for film cameras, black and white actually. Well, I know that there's a hype about this lens and filmmakers use it. I heard that the Spider-Man movie was made with this. Well, not the whole movie, but parts of it. And I can see why. But it's inconvenient and it's often a little bit too milky. This was at 2.8 even. Well, I don't know, man. Well, there you have your Helios. The next lens. It's a Pentagon 50mm 1.8. It's an Oreston design from Meyer Optik Görlitz originally. Such a nice look. And, well, it does not always have to be Zeiss Voigtländer, because these lenses made in the GDR, in the German Democratic Republic, they were built by companies that once existed as a solo company, and then it was a company owned by the people. But Meyer Optik Görlitz, Carl Zeiss Jena and so on, these were all so-called VEBs, so companies owned by the people. What this means is they took the company from the owner and said, yeah, well, you can still sit there on your chair, but you do not decide shit. And you have to, they could not even, it's not good. But this is why these lenses are of very good quality. To this day, they are so well built and they were reasonably cheap. So it's a good one. So Oreston design from Meyer Optik Görlitz packed into the Pentagon 50mm 1.8. Last lens. You saw me and my twin that I used to focus on. Thanks for the help. That's a Revuenon, made in Japan. This lens, this lens was made by Chinon with Pentax or Cosina and with an M42 mount. So this lens is made in Japan, reasonably priced, and this is a 200mm with a variable aperture. It's not usable, not at least for that. So you have to be so far away. But it looks decent. Well, it looks decent. What do you think? So, to get us all together, we had the Nikkor 35mm 1.8 DX, we had the Nikkor 50mm 1.4, we had the Nikon 18 to 105 3.5 to 5.6, we had the Carl Zeiss Jena Tessar 50mm 2.8, we had the Pentagon 50mm 1.8, we had the Helios 44-2 and the Revuenon 200mm 3.5 to 5.6. So let me know in the comments down below which look did you prefer, which lens did you like the most. And this lens is not included. It's the autofocusing Zeiss Batis. All these lenses were mounted to the Sony a7S. Alright, one love. See you in the next video.